Right, so the new bolts are in here on the fork brace. I forgot to say as well that I put the fork gaiters on. They do sit at a little bit of an angle here. I can never get them quite pushed down here behind the plate, but it's not a problem. I popped a cable tie on, it's nice and secure. I've had them like this before and it's never caused any issues. So just to show you what those other bolts look like, you can see here, they were getting pretty rounded. It's quite soft metal this, so it does happen. I think I'll probably replace these before too. I'm just trying to prise these bits out at the moment because this should slide out and it's quite stuck. So I'm going to try and pull these two parts apart and then blue grease these metal bits here before I put it back together. Okay, so now I've completely split that apart. I'm just going to clean up all this section in here, all this bit. And while I'm here, I've just used my F-clamp to push the pistons in and out a few times just to make sure that they're moving freely as well. So I've got more F650 in the pot here, a yogurt pot, paintbrush, and I'm just going to put this all around the spokes on the front wheel as well, just to protect all that area where the rust is starting to come through. I've decided to not take off the side stand or the centre stand, just I don't really see that there's much point. I've sprayed WD-40 in all the little bits here just to make sure that they move smoothly. Okay, so I've just fed through the clutch cable again, slotted this back onto here where all the grooves are, and just remember that you should have marked the right positioning of where this goes before you took it off, because you want to make sure that's in the same place. So now what I'm going to do is put the bolt back through, tighten that up, and then I'll move on to the gear lever. So again, I'm just going to put a tiny little bit of blue grease around these grooves here, ready for when I slide the gear lever back on. Right, so now the gear lever's back on. Remember there's this bolt that goes in underneath here, so you put that in underneath and then you screw it in upwards. So now I'm going to put the footrest back on. Right, so I've got my crash bars ready. I'm not really looking forward to this job. I think it's going to be a bit cumbersome on my own, but I'll give it a little go. I've already cleaned up all the different bolts that are going to go in. I'll probably put a bit of blue grease here on the bolt and then a little bit of anti-seize on the thread. But yeah, I'll just show you how I've laid them out. So I made a note before to say that the bigger spacer will be on the left of the bike, this one's on the top right, and then top of the frame, bottom of the frame. Right, so I'm just going to put these ones in first, just lightly. And I forgot to say, it's always good to take pictures. Remember to take photos on your phone, because I had actually taken photos of the order of how the spaces went, which way through the bolts went, whether it came in from this side or that side. So it's always really worth taking pictures on your phone before you take things apart, and then you can look at them again when you come to reassemble everything. Right, I've loosely put this bolt through now as well on this side, and I've managed to push this little bolt through. So I'm just going to pop the nut on the other side and then put through the last bolt, which goes in through here. So this last bolt that I've just put through, you really have to push this crash bar in order to get the nut on. So I decided to use the F-clamp to push against that for me, which will make it easier now for me to just slot that nut in behind it. So yeah, if you have the right tools, it will make everything so much easier. I've just finished tightening that last bolt, and that is the crash bars back on. Another job done. So I don't have really too many jobs left to do. I've Still got to bleed the brakes, but I'm going to save that for another day when my boyfriend can help me, because it's much easier with 2 people. So now I'm just going to put on the front mud guard and the sump plate, and then I think I'll leave it there for today.